Hello everyone. On my craft table today, I have a tutorial for making the beaded tassel pendant. So this is the tutorial I'm going to share it with you today. And this is another of the same kind of tassel, a very big and heavy one, which I made a couple of years ago. See, this is really huge and also heavy, but it's also pretty at the same time. And I have another one in pastel shade. This is a little bit bigger than what I'm going to show you. And this one, see this tassel pendant needs a structure on which you have to put on the bead rows of beads like this. So it needs a solid structure in the middle. See, I'll show you how it is. See, you can see here. So there is a tube of beads that we have to first stitch, and then we are going to stitch the beads onto the tube to fall to cascade or may to fall like a tassel. Okay, let me see if I can show you the same one on this one. Here I've made the tube also in the same green color bead, so it's not very visible. And on this one, yeah, maybe see, you can see the beadwork there. So it is a tube that we first make and then we put on the beads on the tube. And for this tassel, because it's quite heavy, the bail that we make has to be also very strong because it has to hold up the pendant. And what I'm going to show you is I've made the metal bail for this, and in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to make this metal bail so that it will be nice and strong to hold up this heavy pendant. Yeah, you can see there is a jump ring also I have attached so that for you to put it onto any chain. But I also understand that all of them may not be able to make this metal part for the bail, and they may not be able to make the wrap loops and such. Okay, see, this is the wrap loop that I'm telling you about. So we'll make a loop like this, and the bail continues throughout the length of the tube that we have made. See, even for this I've made a metal bail, which is the best option for this because nothing else will hold up this heavy pendant. Whereas in this one, I have not used a metal bail. Instead, I have made a bail with very heavy duty fireline thread. So I made it about in 2 or 3 strands. See, this is metal part and this is just only using the thread because I know that everyone may not be able to do the metal work. So this part I have made it with thread, and I'll be showing you that in subsequent episodes. But the only thing is you'll have to run through the same work 2 or 3 times so that the thread will run through the bail 3 or 4 times and it will be nice and sturdy. Let's take a look at the materials that you will be needing for this. Okay, to begin, I'm taking a comfortable length of thread because we'll be adding a lot of thread during the making of this tassel. So on a comfortable length of thread, I've added one stop bead there, which is also a seed bead, and I've left about 3 or 4 inches of tail thread to put on the stop bead. So I'm passing the needle again into the bead again, and also a second time. So just pass your needle through the bead so that it is like a station or an anchor to hold your other beads. This is size 8 green color bead. I am picking up 12 beads for to begin with. So these 12 beads make the first and second rows of the tube. So you'll understand how it is later. Now bring that 12 beads down to where your stop bead is and hold it in this position like this. And when it is in position, see, you can see my finger holding on to the beads. Pick up one green bead, skip the first bead and pass your needle through the second one. And at this time, don't leave the tension of the thread or the bead that you are holding, and you can just place your needle down for a moment and push it up like this, see, with your fingers. And when you tighten it up like this, it will stack up one on top of the other. So there are two beads on the bottom and the one is stacked up on the on top of the those two. Next, pick one more bead and see, your thread is coming out of this bead. So after the bead that where thread is coming out, skip the next one, and your needle goes into the bead after that. So skip one bead and pass your needle through the next one. And when you do this and give a little pull, you can see there's another stack that has happened. So it is stacked up like this. At this time, your beadwork can, move left and right. So, but the effect will be the same. So not to worry, but try to maintain it on one side. Again, the same step. Skip one bead and pass your needle through the next one. There it go. This is how it will look now. So these initial two rows, you really have to hold on to your work tightly. Otherwise, your tube may not be nice and firm, and it will be loose, which is not what we want. In this row, you will be putting on 6 beads, because I told you the first two rows, 12 beads, are for two rows. So 6 and 6. So here again in the third row, we'll be putting on 6 beads. So not, this does not matter as much, because I'm just telling you for information, because in each row there will be 6 beads. So as you move on making this peyote tube, you'll understand how it forms. See here you see I've completed row 3 and all the beads are stacked up like how we wanted. So this is how it should be. Give it a little ease or push like this and make your work stand nice and stiff and straight. Sometimes it will bend to the right or to the left a little bit. At that time, just adjust your thread work a little bit so that you get it into a straight line. Because the way you handle the bead, the work can bend either to the left or to the right. But we want it like this, nice straight stack of beads. Now, just because it's easy for me to work in this direction, I'm turning it like this, and I'm going to do the same thing again. Same method. Pick one bead, skip the first bead. See, you can see now it's easy because you can see the places where your beads will go. So you can see the valleys there. There are 6 valleys, and there will be beads which are raised up. So that is where your needle will go into. So that's 1, that's 2, 3. So until you get a good grip of your peyote stitch, practice a little bit even if you need to, but make sure that your stitch work is nice and tight. So don't make it loose. See, in the beginning, if you are not used to a peyote stitch, your work will be a little bit loose, but you will have to practice and get a nice what you say, a firm beadwork like this. You could also go downwards like this, but since for me it is easier to do from the other direction, that's why I keep switching. But there is nothing to stop you from even doing your beadwork down like this in the when you're coming down the row. This gets easier now because you know exactly where your needle will pass through because of the beads that are sticking out and because of the valleys that are there. So continue like this. We'll continue like this until we have 12 rows, and I'll be telling you how to count the 12 rows a little further down in this tutorial. So what I'm doing now is a flat peyote stitch. Here I've just off camera I've completed a few more rows, and to make it into a tube we have to fold the flat peyote and stitch that you have made. You have to fold it like this and stitch it together to make it into a tube. So for that, first before you fold it, we have to make sure of one thing. Okay, we have to count the number of rows that we have made. See, whatever you see above my needle, you count them, there are 6 beads. Okay, and on the bottom also, here you can see whatever is below my needle, there are 5 beads. So 6 and 5 are 11 beads. So that means we have made 11 peyote rows. Okay, 11 rows of the peyote stitch. But to make it into a tube, we'll need 12 rows. Okay. So when you count and when you know that you are still one row short, so let me make the last 12th peyote stitch row now. So you will be able to close it into a tube only if you have even number of rows. So that is why you should have even rows now. So there are 6 on the top, okay, and 6 on the bottom. So that is 12 rows each. Oh, sorry, 12 rows in total. And when you have finished 12 rows, now we can stitch it together. See, when you fold it like this, you can see the beads that are sticking out are in alternating sides. See, one on the right, one on the left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So the beads that are above, the ones which are standing up out like that will be in alternate side of the tube that you are holding. So this is the way to close it now. Take your thread into the adjacent bead on the right side. Now on the left side bead that is sticking out, again your thread goes into the right side bead that is sticking out or standing up. See here, I've made a mistake. I have skipped one of the bead and I have proceeded up further. That is wrong. So I'll have to go. So I'm going back. See, I left off this one. Okay. Remember, we are not adding any beads, but we are stitching both of them together. Big stitch put to pass through on the right side and now on the left side. So if you stitch it like this, your tube will be seamless. You won't know where you started the beadwork and where you ended it. It will be a seamless attach. So this is how a peyote tube is made. So this making a peyote tube is a basic bead weaving requirement. And when you know how to make this tube, there are various jewelry options for making with the tube, so which we can explore later. But now see, after now finishing that, our stitching is not over. Now you'll have to bring your needle to the right side of your beadwork, and with this only our finish this will get done. Okay, see, when you give it a good pull, you can see that the tube has joined seamlessly. You cannot see the join at all. Now since we have made the join only once up, so I would like to reinforce it. So make it another time. Just trace back your steps the same way that we came up. Trace back in the same direction into the same beads So that will make the tube a little more sturdy. So just go through the same steps once again, but in reverse. It could get a little confusing for you, because now, because it is very seamless, you do not know which is the bead that you stitched and which one was not stitched. But with a little attention, you will be able to get it. So this is the second pass I have made, because I wanted the join to be done well instead of being it loose. Now is the time to remove the stop bead, because we don't need it anymore. Yeah, you can see there are 6 beads on the top and 6 beads at the bottom. So this is a 12 bead peyote tube. Now you will have to finish this. If there is more thread, we can continue making the beaded tassels. But if the thread is less, it's better that you wind up this part of the work, and then we can proceed by adding new thread later on. So to finish off this, or to wind up the thread, this is the method. You will pass through the beads in different directions like this. Go up and down, but never across. Always it will be in the path of the beadwork. So go up and down, or sideways like this, and wherever there is some gap of the thread bridges, there you can make a knot also. And this, when you are done, we can just cut it off. You can even make knots, but here I have not made knots, but for security reasons, I mean when to make it more secure, we can make a few couple of knots also. So this tail thread also now can be finished. You can finish it up now. You can wind it up or stitch it back. This is the same method. You'll go through a few beads in different directions, and that will secure the tail thread also. And when that's done, trim your tail thread, and your peyote tube is ready to add on the tassels. So I'll see you again in part 2.